Yes, start then. Come on. Start.
संसार दावा नललीढलो त्राणाय कारुण्य घना घना त्वं
संसार दावा नललीढलो त्राणाय कारुण्य घना घना त्वं
प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
महाप्रभुकीर्तन नृत्यगीता वादित्रमाध्यान् मनसुरसेना
महाप्रभु कीर्तन नित्यगीता वादित्रमाध्यान् मनसुरसेना
रोमाञ्चकाम्पा श्रुतरङ्गबाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
पशु तरङ्गबाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
श्रीविग्रहारा धननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमर्जनादो
श्रीविग्रहारा धननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमर्जनादो
युक्तस्य भक्तांश्च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
दत्तस्य भक्तंस नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
चतुर्विधा श्रीभगवत्प्रसादो स्वदन्नतृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घम्
चतुर्विधा श्रीभगवत्प्रसाद स्वदन्नतृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घम्
कृत्यैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
कृत्यैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नाम्
श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा
प्रतिक्षणा स्वधनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द निकुञ्जयोनो रतिकेलिसीधर यायलिभिरुक्तिरपेक्षणीया
निकुञ्जयोनो रतिकेलिसीधर यायलिभिरुक्तिरपेक्षणीया
तत्रातिदाक्षात् अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे युक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव शाब्दी
सत्यधरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव शाब्दी
किन्तु प्रभुर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो च प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि गायन्तु वंस्तस्य यशस्त्रीसन्ध्यां वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरण
वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने
नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिसतारिणे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिसतारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
जय राधा नील माधव राधा नील माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथा बलदेवा सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय सीताराम 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 जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभाजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सरशिष्यमार इस्कॉन प्रतिष्ठा विविधि संस्थापकाचार्य वैष्णव शिरोमणि गौर प्रियजन कृष्ण प्रेम भक्ति दत्त पतित पावन हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभयचरण भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद जी की जय श्री गौरिया गुरु वर्ग पतित उद्धार की जय श्री रूप सनातन भद्र गुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भक्त दास गुण सतगोस्वामी प्रभु की जय नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर जी की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय जय परम दयाल श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय जय प्रेम नाम संकीर्तन एक जनक प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिनंदन श्रीमान गौरांग श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु गौर हरि मावरण अवतार की जय गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरिनाम संकीर्तन जग की जय जुगो धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय त्रिहंदांग ट्रांसडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेवा की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय श्री ब्रज वृंदावन मथुर धाम की जय डेलो शिव श्री राधा नील माधव की जय श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप एक चक्र धाम की जय परम करुण श्री गौर निताय की जय श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी बलदेव प्रभु श्रीमती सुभद्रा देवी सुदर्शन चक्र भगवान की जय भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशन कनुसिंगरे भगवान की जय जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय तुलसी महारानी वृंदी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय बोलो श्री मथुरा रानी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर हरि प्रमानंदे हरि बोल All glories to the assembled bodies, all glories to the assembled bodies, all glories to the assembled bodies, all glories, all glories, all glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Haribo.
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
Namaste Narasimhaya
ददायिने
Saladadadadaine
हिरण्यकशिपुवक्षः
Hiranyakasipo Bhatta
शिलटङ्कानकालये
Jayasinatankanakalaye
नरसिंहा
श्री वृंदाई तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव सत्य कृष्ण भक्ति प्रादे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। जय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की।
कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ते अभिलाषी।
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 ये तुम्हार शरण लो तारा वांछा पूर्ण हो।
ये तुम्हारा शरणारा तारा वंच पूर्ण।
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी।
तुम्हें कृपा करे करा करे वृंदावन वासी।
मोरा ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास।
मोराई अभिलाष विलास कुंजे दियोवा।
नयने हेरिबो सदा युगल रूप राशि।
अमी नयने रिबो सदा युगल
रूप राशि। ए निवेदन धार सखीरानुगत करो।
हे निवेदन धार सखीरनुगत कर।
सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी।
मायादि कर दिए करो निज दासी।
दीना कृष्ण दासे को ये नमोरा हो।
बिना कृष्ण दासे को ये नमोरा।
श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदाय नवासी।
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदाय नवासी।
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म हत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे।
कानि कानि पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे।
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म हत्यादिकानि च तानि 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 प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यानि तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya
Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev Shri Vrindai Tulasi Devi Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavatai Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulasi Devi Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha जय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय। O Tulsi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of your wishes fulfilled. Bestow your mercy upon him, make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire that you also grant me a residence where the people of Shri Vrindavan. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower carrying the hymns of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant Krishna praise. May I always say me love Shri Radha and Govinda. Shri Mati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Now let's consider 10 offenses against the chanting the holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1. Blaspheme the devotees who dedicate a life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the very scriptures or scriptures in pursuance of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9. To instruct the fearless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in chanting the holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Vancha kalpataruvascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha jayananta koti vaishnavrinda ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikhastakam ki jai. Madhavagni Nirvapanam Shriyakariva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandambudi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Sadhanam Sarvatmasnam Param Param Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Namnamakari Baudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Shmarane Nakala Itadrishitava Kripaya Bhagavan Mamapi Durdhaivam Idrishamya Janinanuraga Trinadapi Snichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari Na Dhanam Na Janam Na Sundarim Kavitam Vajagarisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavata Bhakti Rahai Tvai Oinandatanu Jakinkaram Paritama Visame Baba Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stitadhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galara Shudharaya Vadanam Gadagarudaya Gira Pulakairi Chitam Vapukada Tavanam Agrahane Bhavisati Jugaitam Nimishena Chakrusha Prabhusaitam Sunyaitam Javirahena Me Asleshava Padaratam Pinastumam Adarshanar Marmahatam Karotuva Jatha Tathava Vidadhatulam Pata Matpranatastu Saivana Para Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Ki Jai. Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurateshe Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutare Shmade Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunnavadi Pasatyari Satarine. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life with repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because its praise is the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which all is anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself a Lord on straw on the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause of devotion service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yes, some or other, I am fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and you should remain so. Even if he sunders me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Ki Jai. Shri Guru Pranam, Mangala Charan Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jota Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vintam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vitamcha Nama Om Vishnu Padayo Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Patsatyari Satarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhana Videvi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambhanda Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurjo Jala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravane Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Posidanta Dvantaharine Namagora Kishoraya Sakchavera Gyamurtaye Vipralambhara Sambhodhi Padamujayate Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumitsvam Nirdesha Sajanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Sri Jagannatayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranayo Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnayo Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gurutvishye Namaha Panchatattamakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataro Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanto Namostute Jayatam Suratupangor Mama Mandamatir Gatir Masarvasya Param Bhujo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadumadha Shmar Nagara Shingasanastu Shmaradha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtali Visheva Manushmarame Shmara Sarasaram Bivam Shvata Tatastita Karshan Venu Sanar Gopi Gopinath Shri Estuna Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhi Vrindavanishwari Vrusabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Guru Pranam Charan ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. So
So we're reading today from Canto 3, Chapter 8, verse number 27. Mukena lokati harasmitena parispurat kundala manditena sonayitena darabimbabasa patyar hayantam sunasena subruva. Mukena, by a gesture of the face. Loka Aarti Hara, vanquisher of the distress of the devotees. Smitena, by smiling. Parispurjarat, dazzling. Kundala, earrings. Manditena, decorated with. Sonayitena, acknowledging. Adhara, of his lips. Bimba, reflection. Basa, rays. Patyar hayantam, reciprocating. Sunasena, by his pleasing nose. Subruva, and pleasing eyebrows. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He also acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and the beauty of his nose and eyebrows. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Devotional service to the Lord is very much obliging to Him. There are many transcendentalists in different fields of spiritual activities, but devotional service to the Lord is unique. Devotees do not ask anything from the Lord in exchange for their service. Even the most desirable liberation is refused by devotees, although offered by the Lord. Thus the Lord becomes a kind of debtor to the devotees, and he can only try to repay the devotee's service with his ever-enchanting smile. The devotees are ever satisfied by the smiling face of the Lord, and they become enlivened. And by seeing the devotees so enlivened, the Lord himself is further satisfied. So there is continuous transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees by such reciprocation of service and acknowledgement. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is a very important purport. It gives us what you would call a window of vision of the transcendental nature of the relationship of the devotee with the Lord. It's a relationship, a service and acknowledgement. Service. Devotee offers service to the Lord without asking anything in return. And the Lord acknowledges it. So, whenever there's a good manager in Krishna consciousness, he or she will always acknowledge the service of the devotees. And even though it's difficult, here it's saying that it says that devotional service to the Lord is very much obliging to him. Now, what does this word obliging mean? When you're obliged, it's something that you cannot ignore, that you feel that you must reciprocate in some way. So that's why it says devotional service to the Lord is very much obliging to him. In other words, Krishna wants to reciprocate, but because the devotee won't accept any benefit due to the service that he or she is rendering, then the only way of the Lord to reciprocate is to acknowledge the service of the Lord with his smile. So when people are satisfied with something, they smile. But imagine when the Lord smiles, it's more than simply acknowledgement. It's transcendental bliss for the devotee. Therefore, it says, there are many transcendentalists in different fields of spiritual activities, but devotional service to the Lord is unique. Yes, so some people do meditation, some people do offering things. And so there's different ways that they engage in spiritual activities. But devotional service, offering with love and devotion, whatever the Lord desires of the devotee, is special. Why is it special? Because devotees do not ask anything from the Lord in exchange for their service. So when people are always asking things from the Lord, that is not as relishable for the Lord as the devotee who doesn't ask for anything, but is satisfied by the service they perform. So some people will only be satisfied by getting a reward for what they do. But the pure devotees are not asking for any rewards. They're satisfied by the service itself. So this is different, very, very seriously different than what is the ordinary, let's say, motive that people have when they come to the Lord. So, even the most desirable liberation is refused by devotees, although offered by the Lord. Thus the Lord becomes a kind of debtor to the devotees, and he can only try to repay the devotee's service with his ever-enchanting smile. And this is transcendental knowledge. And whenever you're really pleased by someone, you smile. But imagine the Lord's smile, which would be absolutely overwhelming for the sincere devotee. They don't need more than that. And this was something that was experienced by devotees during Prabhupada's presence. When he would visit a temple, all the devotees were excited for weeks, sometimes months, before the Prabhupada came. And when he came, devotees were full of transcendental excitement. And that excitement grew gradually as the days came closer and closer to Prabhupada's arrival. So the devotees would do everything to make the temple look as clean and nice and organized as possible, so that when Prabhupada came, he would notice the cleanliness as well as the shining happiness of the deities. So that's the way he would judge what was happening in the temple. He would take a long look at the deities, and when there was a darshan, and if the deities were smiling, and you can tell, then he would know that the service was being done in a proper way at that temple. And then, because the Lord is pleased, then the devotees are pleased. And especially when they saw Prabhupada pleased, sometimes Prabhupada would dance, and everyone would dance in ecstasy with him in the kirtan. So, this smile of the Lord is the absolute proof that the service is being accepted, and that's the acknowledgement of the Lord. And that acknowledgement means much more than any kind of, let's say, benefit that one might aspire for by doing service. Just to know that the Lord is satisfied and he's smiling is enough to sustain the devotees for a lifetime of service. Okay, so all this is to help us understand what it means to come closer and closer to Krishna. It's through devotional service, and a devotee, as it says here, even the most desirable liberation is refused by devotees, although offered by the Lord. Thus the Lord becomes a kind of debtor to the devotees, and he can only try to repay the devotee's service with his ever-enchanting smile. The devotees are ever satisfied by the smiling face of the Lord, and they become enlivened. And by seeing the devotees so enlivened, the Lord himself is further satisfied. So there is continuous transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees by such reciprocation of service and acknowledgement. Well, even if the devotee is not even expecting the acknowledgement of the Lord, they are just satisfied, these pure devotees are just satisfied by serving the Lord with all their energy and their enthusiasm. But when there is acknowledgement, that's just cream on top of the cake. So we see it's a special relationship between the devotee and the Lord. And the same thing was experienced with Srila Prabhupada. When he saw that the temple was being well managed, the devotees were happy, and there was no arguing, and everyone was cooperating, and everyone, of course, was super enthused to see Srila Prabhupada, and they were ready to do anything to please Prabhupada. He could understand that the temple was really Krishna conscious and progressing in a wonderful way. Okay, so then the next verse, number 28. Kadamba kinjalka pisangavasasa swalankritam mekalaya nitambe harena chananiya danena vatsa shivatsa vaksha stalavalabena. Kadamba kinjalka, saffron dust of the kadamba flower. Pisanga, dress of the color. Vasasa, by clothing. Su alankritam, well decorated. Mekalaya, by the belt. Nitambe, on the waist. Harena, by the garland. Cha, also. Ananta, highly. Danena, valuable. Vatsa, my dear Vidura. Shivatsa, of the transcendental marking. Vakshasthala, on the chest. Valabhena, very pleasing. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Oh, my dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the kadamba flower, and it was enriched by a well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with the Srivatsa marking and a necklace of unlimited value. Text 29. So here we're seeing and hearing about a description of the Lord's transcendental body. And Maitreya Muni has this vision of the Lord, just like Brahma got a vision of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. So Maitreya also has this vision of the Lord, He's explaining whatever he's seeing. And he's giving a chance at Vidura to see the same thing by his, let's say, inspired description. Paradya ke yuramani praveka Paryas the Dordan the Sahasra Sakam Avyaktamulam Bhuvanangri Bhuvanangri Ripendram Ahindra Bhogar Ahivita Balsam Paradya, very valuable. Keyura, ornaments. Mani Praveka, highly valuable jewels. Paryasta, disseminating. Dordanda, arms. Sahasrasakam, with thousands of branches. Avyaktamulam, self-situated. Bhuvana, universal. Angripa, trees. Indram, the Lord. Ahi Indra. Anantadeva, Bhogai, by hoods. Adhivita, surrounded. Valsam, soldiers. So here we're seeing the Lord reclining on a Sheshanaga. Right? So this is a universal form of the Lord in his, definitely in reclining on the Sheshanaga, the Shesha is actually an expansion of Baladeva, who helps the Lord in 5 different ways for his pastimes. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. As a sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was a self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe. And as a sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, so the Lord's body was also covered by the hoods of Ananta. Well, Anantadeva has millions and billions of hoods, and he's also considered, as we explained before, as a principle of gravity, because although we cannot see it, his hoods are holding every planet in its orbit. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word avyakta moolam is significant here. Generally, no one can see the roots of a tree, but as far as the Lord is concerned, he is the root of himself, because there's no other separate cause of his standing. But he himself, in the Vedas, it is said that the Lord is swashraya ashraya. He is his own support, and there is no other support for him. Therefore, avyakta means the Supreme Lord himself and no one else. Text 30. Chara charako bhagavan mahidram ahindra bandhum salilo pagudam kirita sahasra hiranya sringam avir bhavat kostubak ratna garbam. Chara, moving animals. Achara, non-moving trees. Oka, the place or situation. Bhagavat, the personality of Godhead. Mahidram, the mountain. Ahi Indra, Shri Ananta Deva, Bandum, friend, Salila, water, Upagudam, submerged, Kirita, helmets, Sahasra, thousands, Hiranya, gold, Shringam, peaks, Avirbhavat, manifested, Kaustuba, the Kaustuba jewel, Ratnagarbham, ocean. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode for all moving and non-moving living entities. He is the friend of the snakes, because Lord Ananta is his friend. As a mountain has thousands of golden peaks, so the Lord was seen with the thousands of golden helmeted hoods of Anantanaga. And as a mountain is sometimes filled with jewels, so also his transcendental body was fully decorated with valuable jewels. As a mountain is sometimes submerged in the ocean of water, so the Lord is sometimes submerged in the water of devastation. Text 31. Nivitam amnaya madhuvrata shriya swakirti maya vanamalaya harim surendu Vagni agamam Chidambabi Parikramat Pradhanikar Durasadam. Nivitam, so being enclosed, Amnaya, Vedic wisdom. Madhuvrata Shriya, sweet sound in beauty. Swakirti Maya, by his own glories. Vanamalaya, flower garland. Harim, unto the Lord. Surya, the sun. Indu, the moon. Vayu, the air. Agni, the fire. Agamam, unapproachable. Tri Dhamma Bihi, by the three planetary systems. Parikramat, circumambulating. Pradhanikai, for fighting. Durasadam, very difficult to reach. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Brahma, thus looking upon the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that he was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw that the garland of flowers on his chest glorified him with Vedic wisdom in sweet songs and looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarsana wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire, etc. could not have access to him. Now, you can try all you want. You would not be able to describe the body, the transcendental body of the Lord, like this description is taking place. None of this is made up. You wouldn't be able to make something up like this. Actually, Vidura is seeing these things, and he's describing what he's seeing. And Brahma, when he wrote the Brahma Samhita, he was seeing Krishna. And he's just describing what he's seeing. See? Now, if you are a fiction writer and you want to describe what the body of the Lord looks like, you would not even come close to this description. So this is unique. Nowhere else in any other scripture will you see such detailed description of the Lord, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest literature if you want to know who God is. Now, because people are just guessing about God, they're not getting anywhere. So it's absolutely necessary to first accept bona fide gurus, Shiksha and Diksha gurus, and with their help, enter into the mysteries of understanding who Krishna is actually. It's a slow process. It's full of nectarine realizations, and it's unending. The qualities of the Lord are unending. You can never come to the end of them. Even Anantadev, who has millions and billions of heads, and all of them are speaking the glories of the Lord, he doesn't even come close to describing Krishna's transcendental qualities. So we see, as soon as we enter into the realm of spirituality, pure spirituality, it's unending, and it's completely satisfying, and it's full of nectar for the devotee. But to develop this appreciation, that can only happen in the association of genuine devotees. It cannot happen by yourself meditating in a cave. You're not coming even close to any of this. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very special scripture. Okay, so did I read no. Okay, let's just read the translation again. Lord Brahma, thus looking upon the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that he was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw that the garland of flowers on his chest glorified him with Vedic wisdom in sweet songs and looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarsana wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire, etc. could not have access to him. Text 32. Taryeva tannabhisara sarojam atmanam amba swaswasanam vyachcha Dadarsa Devo Jagato Vidata Nata Param Loka Visarga Dristi Tarhi. Therefore, Eva, certainly, Tat, his, Nabi, navel, Sara, lake, Sarojam, lotus flower, Atmanam, Brahma, Amba, the devastating water, Swasanam, the drying air, Viyat, the sky, Cha, also, the Darsha, looked upon, Deva, demigod, Jagata, of the universe, Vidata, maker of the destination, Na, not, Ataparam, beyond, Loka Visarga, creation of the cosmic manifestation, Drishti, glance. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. When Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, thus saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over creation. Lord Brahma saw the lake in Lord Vishnu's navel, and the lotus flower, as well as the devastating water, the drying air, and the sky, all became visible to him. So when you approach Krishna, you not only see Krishna, but you see all the paraphernalia and everything else accompanying the Lord. The Lord is never alone. And you can see here Prabhudakshay Vishnu and Sheshanaga and all the beautiful ornaments and decorations of the Lord's body. It's overwhelming. And even that is unlimited. So here, how do you see something? Well, previously, there used to be what's called explorers. They would go and explore areas of the earth that had never been seen before by people, let's say the Europeans, for example. So when the Europeans first came to the New World, meaning the Western Hemisphere, they started exploring the Americas, and they wrote back what they saw, and people were able to see or get an idea of what they were seeing by the little books that they were writing, and they would talk about these mountains and these rivers and the animals and great forests and so forth. So they also discovered civilizations like the Incas, and there were different civilizations going on in the Western world. So here we see the same thing. Vidura is actually seeing in real time the transcendental body of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and describing what he's seeing. And Brahma also is seeing, and it's also being described by Maitreya Muni. So now, fast forward thousands and thousands of years, we're seeing also by hearing and reading these descriptions of the Lord's transcendental body and the experience of Brahma. Okay, so then text 33. Sakarma bijam rajaso paraktaha praja shisriksan iyad eva dristva astod visarga vimukastam idyam avyakta vartmani abhivesitatma sa, he, Brahma, karma bijam, seed of worldly activities, rajasa, uparakta, initiated by the mode of passion. Okay, when it says initiated, it doesn't mean he's getting an initiation. It means that he is beginning to act due to the mode of passion. Praja, living entities. Sistric son, willing to create progeny. Iyad, all the five causes of creation. Eva, thus. Dristva, looking on. Astod, prayed for. Visarga, creation after the creation by the Lord. Abhimukha, towards. Tam, that. Idyam, worshipable. Avyakta, transcendental. Vartmani, on the path of. Abhivesita, fixed. Atma, mind. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma, thus being surcharged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create, and after seeing the five causes of creation indicated by the personality Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the path of the creative mentality. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Even if one is in the material mode of passion, to create something in the world, he has to take shelter of the Supreme for the necessary energy. That is the path of the successful termination of any attempt. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the third canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So, this is something unique. How many people are going to hear such detailed information of how Krishna has created the material world? They have nowhere to go to understand this. The description in the Bible is very sketchy. And the Quran also, and the Torah also. There's some explanation of how God created the world, but it's nowhere near the details that we have here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is going on chapter after chapter and canto after canto. So it's very important that we realize the value, what you would call unparalleled value of being able to hear this every day and continually and as it goes on and on, we become more enthusiastic to hear. That's the symbol, or that's the sign that we're actually becoming Krishna conscious. That what you would call insatiable desire to hear. In the beginning, we don't have that desire, but if something catches our attention and we begin to understand things, then we become excited and we look forward to coming to class and hearing and learning more and more about Krishna. The more you learn about Krishna, the more you will become enthused to serve the Lord and be satisfied by the service rather than being satisfied by rewards. Most people are satisfied by rewards, but just hearing about Krishna is the reward. We do not ask for anything else. We're just satisfied, and this hearing goes on eternally. We're entering into the realm of hearing about the Lord, but as it continues, it becomes more and more relishable, and then we cannot live without it. And we want to hear every day more descriptions of the Lord and His transcendental pastimes. So this is spiritual excitement, spiritual, let's say, dynamism. It's dynamic. It's never boring. It's never hackneyed, as they say. Every day there's something new and amazing that's being revealed. And in this gradual, very gradual, let's say, development of understanding who Krishna is exactly. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. Are there any questions that you have?
Maharaj, the word devastating, would you be able to elaborate on that?
Devastating?
Yeah.
Devastating means very severe destruction, right? Is that the word you want?
Yeah. Why we are referring to the devastating water? So I'm trying to.
Well, yeah. I mean,
imagine.
if someone throws you off a big, let's say, cruise boat, throws you over the railing and you end up in the ocean, that's when you would understand devastating water. Because now the boat is going away and you're alone in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean. How are you going to get out? You can't. So it's devastating.
So it's huge, and then.
It's something you cannot escape from.
Okay.
And you're just going to drown, or be eaten by sharks, but you're not going to survive. So it's devastating. It's completely, what do you say, completely destroying you for sure. There's no way you're going to get out. Okay.
And one more, Maharaj, is when it comes to yoga, I'm typically familiar with the Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, but the two other yogas that we hear on Bhagavad Gita, which is Buddhi Yoga and Abhyasa Yoga. Are they different, or are they connected to any of these four? Especially
No,
Abhyasa
Yoga.
Yoga.
Those four have subtitles also.
They're considered subcategories.
So, obviously, it's like someone tells you, well, my car has a motor. Okay, the motor is a general term, right?
Uh-huh.
But now the motor has so many things, right? It has a carburetor, it has a gas pump, it has cylinders, it has this, it has that. You can go into, 10,000 things that makes up a motor. But the motor, you understand, it's that thing that makes the truck or car move, right? But now there's explanation of what the motor is made of, and now you go into deep detail. So in the same way, these are the four major types of yoga, but there's a lot of subcategories for each one. Right? So you have Raja Yoga, you have Ashtanga Yoga, you have this yoga, you have that yoga. And they're all different ways of connecting to Krishna. But of all of them, what does Krishna say in the last verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? He says, Yoginam apisarve samadgatanantaratmana bhajatam shadavan bhajate yomam same yuktatomo matak. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So, of all the types of yoga, bhakti yoga is the best. That's what this verse is saying. And the bhakti yogi is the best yogi. So, that's Krishna's final opinion. So, we should accept that. If you come to bhakti, you've come to the best and the highest form of connecting with the Lord. It's much superior to all the other forms of yoga. Okay?
Maharaj, can you elaborate on the Abhyasa Yoga? And I hear it's a practical experience, but then I cannot connect very well to the intended meaning.
There's two of us that don't connect very well. I don't know, what does abhyas mean in Sanskrit?
Abhyasa, my understanding is study.
Okay. Well, the only thing you should understand is what I just read. That is, yoginam apisarve samadgatanantaratmana Shraddhavam bhajate yomam same yuktatomo matak. So that last line says, Same yuktatomo matak. What does that mean? He says, Sa means he, may, by me, yuktatama, the greatest yogi, mata, is considered. So the greatest yogi is the bhakti yogi. So you don't have to worry about abhyas yoga because it's included in bhakti. Bhakti is the summum bonum, the best, the highest pinnacle of devotional service, and it includes all the other yogas. Just like Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavan includes Paramatma and Brahman. So if you know Bhagavan, you also know Paramatma and the Brahman. So you don't have to study the Brahman. If you come to Bhagavan, you already understand Brahman as well as Paramatma. So if you come to Bhakti Yoga, you're already studying. It's just like we're studying every day. Who is Krishna? Okay, so come to the pinnacle of the yoga practice, which is Bhakti Yoga. You can go directly, as it says in the end of the 8th chapter. Let's see what it says. It says that it says the beauty of Krishna consciousness however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. So you don't have to be a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Sudra. You don't have to be Brahmachari or Grihastha or Vanaprastha or Sannyas. You just understand that Krishna consciousness includes all these things and more. So if you come to pure Krishna consciousness, you've surpassed all those different steps of service or yoga or whatever, and you come to the highest pinnacle of pleasing the Lord. So therefore, the real purpose of all the Vedic knowledge is to convince you to be engaged full-time in devotional service to the Lord under the guidance of bona fide Shiksha and Diksha gurus. Then you have nothing to worry about after that. You understand what is the purpose of the Vedas. Right? Or as it says, 15th chapter, 15th verse, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto matak smritir jnanam apahanam cha. Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavit eva chaham. So that third line, Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya, which means, by all the Vedas I am to be known. So this 15:15 Bhagavad Gita, third line, explains the goal of all the Vedas. That's to know Krishna. And that's what we're doing now. Every day we're learning more and more about Krishna. So this is the what you would call summum bonum, the best of the best level of understanding and achievement in devotionals, in Krishna consciousness. It's understanding and then becoming convinced that we should always be engaged in Krishna's service. So if you just become a scholar, you're reading so many books and you're studying this and you're writing this paper and that paper, but you're not actually engaged in practical devotional service. So that is not the goal. The goal is Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So if you know Krishna, then you will be engaged in Krishna's service. Or as it says in the 10th chapter, 8th verse, let's look at that. Aham sarvasya prabhava matak sarvam pavartate iti matva bhajante mam buddhabhava samadvitaha. I am the source, Krishna says, of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So here we went over, you write this down, 6th chapter, 47th verse. You want to write this down. 6th chapter, 47th verse. And then we talked about the 8th chapter, 28th verse, which says, a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. And in the purport is that what I read, the beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. So, this is 8th chapter, well, the first one was the 6th chapter, 47th verse. The second one is the 8th chapter, 28th verse. The third one is the 15th chapter, 15th verse. And then the last one was the 10th chapter, 8th verse. This is the answer to your question. Okay? Everything is in the Bhagavad Gita. You don't have to go anywhere else. But if you want to learn more, then you come to Srimad Bhagavatam. Although everything is in the Bhagavad Gita, but there's more vast detail in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Any other questions? Okay, ladies first. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
As we reached home, deviation started. Means after doing chanting devotional service, very hard to reject all material world and focus only on Krishna. How to maintain our devotional service during deviation time?
During which time?
Deviation, mind deviate from another things on material world
Oh,
things.
diversions.
Yeah, as we reached in
So
home.
this is a question someone's asking, or you're asking this?
I am asking. I
Okay.
wrote down because.
All right, so you want to know how to keep focused on Krishna, in
Yeah.
spite of being a mother, being a wife, doing this, doing that. Is that right?
As we reached in home, our priority is going to change little bit. Means here is an environment. So how we focus only on Krishna?
You come to class every day, then you're focused.
If we are in US, we will come. But if we will go in other place, if we are in life, so
No, you can access the classes from anywhere, right? On the internet.
okay.
So that's one good aspect of the internet. There's a lot of bad aspects of the internet, but that's the good aspect of it. You could access, because even if you can't come, even if you can't hear the class when it's being given, like 6:30 in the morning, still it's on the YouTube or Facebook. So you can hear it 24 hours a day, right? So take advantage of this technology. And so wherever you are, you can always be hearing these classes. And by hearing the classes, you keep focused on devotional service and Krishna. Okay? It's not difficult. If this was like, the 15th century, well, it might have been but anyway, in the 15th century, you would probably never go away from the village, and as long as there is the mahant or the devotee in the village, you're hearing every day. Now, in modern times today, everyone's going viz, 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 this, like this, with going here, going there. You're born in India, you're living in the United States, and you decide to move to Europe, and then you go to Japan, and so you're moving around a lot, right? But previously, you stayed in the village, and there was always a sadhu, and he was always doing the same thing, talking about Krishna. So today, because you're moving around a lot, you have the internet that will bring you, that'll permit you to hear the classes every day. And there's not only one person like me giving classes, there's hundreds of devotees giving classes every day. So, yeah, there's no excuse. Let's put it like that. There's no excuse. You just have to make the effort. You have to want to hear. If you really want to hear, then you will every day. And you'll be always reconnected, because when you sleep, you're in ignorance. When you wake up, you're in passion. But when you sit down, and there's no disturbance going on, and you hear the class, then you become Krishna conscious again. It reminds you every day. So, yeah, the solution is listen to the class every day.
Maharaj, but in a temple is 100% focus, but in a home via mobile or via computer, I think it's a 50% or maybe 0% sometimes.
You have to make the decision to be Krishna conscious is not made once and for all. It's made every second of your life. Every second of your life, you have to make the decision over and over again to be Krishna conscious. Because every second you can change your mind. So you have to be so focused that every second you say, no, I'm not going here. I'm going to stay focused on knowing who Krishna is. I'm not going to know, this thing or that thing that's in the news or the politics or this or that. I'm just going to focus on knowing Krishna. So when you make, and that decision is not made once and for all. It's made every second of your life. Every second of your life, you can change your mind. So that's called chanchal, always changing, right? But no, you have to be what's called one-track mind. One-track mind means there's only one interest, one main interest you have, and that is Krishna. So if you know Krishna, then you know everything. If you try and know everything, you'll know nothing. So you just learn who Krishna is, you'll have all knowledge. If you try and learn all knowledge, you'll have no knowledge. It becomes a kitchery in the head. If you know Krishna, then you know everything. Okay? So everybody's trying to know everything, and that means they don't know anything. They're confused. But if you know Krishna, then you'll never be confused. Okay, your turn.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, when you were talking about nobody
I didn't
can
talk about
when you were talking about nobody can describe Krishna.
Yeah, let's say no fiction writer can describe correctly Krishna. They're just guessing. Because
Can Krishna's pure devotee?
why Maitreya Muni is describing Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in such details? Because he's actually seeing it. But if you're not Krishna conscious, you will never be able to see Krishna, so you'll never be able to describe him correctly.
So only people in the mode of goodness can do it?
No, you have to be transcendental to the mode of goodness. You have to be in transcendental goodness to be able to see Krishna. Look at Brahma. He meditated for 311 trillion years to be able to see Krishna. You know how long that is? You know what a trillion is? You know how many zeros there are in a trillion? There's 12 zeros plus a number. So he did tremendous. But see, today, because of Lord Chaitanya, you don't have to meditate 311 trillion years to see Krishna. You just chant Hare Krishna sincerely and you'll see Krishna. Like every day you come, do you see Krishna? Yeah. You're seeing Krishna every day, right? It took Brahma 311 trillion years to see Krishna. But because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy and the Acharya's mercy, you can see him every day. Right? You just come to the temple. This is the main thing. We don't have like a big television with sports going on or anything like that. This is our main concern, the altar and Krishna. Right?
If Brahma knew,
He didn't know.
he didn't know the choices, hard and easy?
No, when he was first born, there was no material creation yet. He looked around, he couldn't see anything. But then he heard tapa. Then he remembered from his previous life what it means. And it means that you must perform tapasya or sacrifice. So he began a tremendous sacrifice of meditation. And it went on for 311 trillion years. And eventually, Krishna spoke to him. And eventually, Krishna revealed himself to him. But today, in Kali Yuga, which is a very difficult time to be Krishna conscious, Lord Chaitanya has made the whole process easy. You just chant, dance, take prasadam, come to class, and come on Sankirtan, and you will see Krishna every day. We're seeing Krishna every day. And then you open the curtain, you see him. Right?
Does Krishna have to make it easier, or does Lord Chaitanya have to do it?
Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. He's actually Radha and Krishna. And he came to make it easier for us. It's very easy. Do you like to sing? No? Oh, then it's going to be hard. Do you like to dance? Oh, then it's going to be easy. If you sing and dance, Hare Krishna, take prasadam. You like to have prasadam? Okay. And you like to go and Sankirtan? You like to come to class? Yeah, you're looking at your dad because he's not bringing you out on Sankirtan. He'll do that. So you see, if you like to do these things, which are all fun things, singing, dancing, hearing nice things about Krishna and so forth, having prasadam, all these things are nice, they're fun, they're easy. Lord Chaitanya made it easy. Anybody can become Krishna conscious today. Even the worst person in the world can become Krishna conscious. It's so easy. Okay. Haribol. Question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. When we did the banyan tree homework, it was easy to understand where Brahma sits and how the perverted reflection happens and how the earth and world has generated. Now, when we talk about Garbhodasai Vishnu, so how do we imagine he being in the universe? Because
Well, wait a minute. You have to understand the description of the universe. The universe is in the stem of that lotus flower, right? And it begins from the abdomen of Garbhodakshay Vishnu.
and
You know what
is-
the stem is, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. So it's inside that stem is the universe.
And each
And Brahma is sitting on the lotus flower, the whorl of the stem on the top. So he went all the way down to the bottom. He didn't see anything because the universe wasn't created yet. So he came back up and sat down on the flower at the top of the stem. And he heard tapas, so he started meditating. And it took a long time, but then he actually was able to see Krishna and understand by hearing from Krishna what his purpose in life is. Now, to just imagine how big that stem is almost impossible, right? It's holding the whole universe, and then in there is also Krishna's Virat Rupa. It was a gigantic form that's encompassing the whole universe. So all these things are almost unimaginable for us because it's too great, it's too big, right? But we're hearing it, we have a general idea, right? Will we understand it completely? No, because it's beyond our scope of consciousness. We're talking about things that are so big that it's impossible to actually understand it properly. But we're getting an idea. Okay. What's the idea? The idea is we are really, really small. But yet, Lord Chaitanya came and made it easy for us. That's what we should focus on, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and Radha and Krishna. So we should meditate on the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That mercy is unfathomable also. It's so, he's made something impossible possible. Right? So that's what we should be very grateful for, because you don't have to meditate 311 trillion years. You just come to 1420 228th Avenue. Open the door, come in, and there's prasada, there's darshan of Krishna, there's Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all good things, right? If you make a mistake and go to the neighbor, they'll tell you, get the hell out of here, who are you? I'm going to call the police, right? But if you come in here, you're welcome, right? Because this is Krishna's house.
That helps, Maharaj, because we are in the downward, in the stem, which means we are completely in the darkness. And that homework makes more sense at this
But we
point.
don't have to be in darkness.
True, true.
The Bhagavad Gita is the light, right? And that's a verse also. It says in the 10th chapter, verse number, verse number 11, it says, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. 10th chapter, 11th verse, right? Which says, Tesam evan karmpatam aham agyana jam tama nasyami atmabhavastu jnana dipena bhasvato. To show them, meaning us, special mercy, I, meaning Krishna, dwelling in their hearts as Paramatma, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. That's the verse.
Bhagavad Gita 10.11.
Yeah, 10.11, yeah. Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any other questions? Okay, then we will have Guru Puja, and thank Srila Prabhupada. Haribol. Where would we be without Prabhupada? We'd be eating hamburgers and hot dogs and going to hell very quickly. Okay, guess who's going to sing? You're going to sing, right? Okay, go. Let him sing today. You'll be singing all the other days.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Bando Dana Mate
Mando Muri Sabadana Mate
Jahara Prasade Bai Ibavatoriya Jai
Janara Prasade Bai Eva Vatoriya Jai
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te
Krishna Prapti Oya Oy Te
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Shitite Koriya Kya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Koriya Kya
Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha
Arana Koriya Maneya
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama
Ese Uttamagati
जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा
Ye Prasade Pure Sarva
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित
वेद गाय जन रचरित
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु
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 लोकेनाथ लोके राजीवाना
लोकनाथ लोके राजीवाना
हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पाद छाया
प्रभु गोर दया दया मोरे पाद छाया
हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पाद छाया
प्रभु गोर दया दया मोरे पाद छाया
एबे जास गोशुक त्रिभुवाना श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पवाना जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद
जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरा भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajagachasta Tarasatara Shri Shimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Samavira Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to Samudra, all glories to Samudra, all glories to Samudra, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guru, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Budaya Krishna Vishnu Tulsi Pati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Nirvisesa Sanyuvadi Paskati Attorney Hare Krishna.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service.
I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires.
He opens
My darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing this character. Our spiritual master is the ocean mercy, defender of poor and Lord and master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.